You walk into a wine store and see hundreds of bottles, different labels, regions, awards, names, and no idea how to choose. It feels complicated, but it's actually not. Choosing wine is not about guessing, it's about reading the label correctly. I'm Arsen Khachaturyants, possibly the youngest winemaker in the world, and in this video, I will show you the exact signals and subtle red flags that separate great bottles from overpriced disappointments. When I stand in front of a supermarket shelf, I don't scan 200 bottles. I filter. Here are 5 things I check in under 1 minute. First, grape variety. If you're a beginner, clarity matters. Look for wines that clearly state the grape variety. For example, Merlot, Pinot Noir, Malbec, Sauvignon Blanc. If the label doesn't clearly tell you what's inside, that can make it harder to know what to expect. Clear labeling often reflects confidence in the wine's identity and style. Second, region specificity. Specific region is better than vague origin. For example, Rioja is more informative than product of Spain. Chianti is more informative than product of Italy. If the label says only wine of the EU, that usually means bulk blending from multiple countries. More precision on a label usually means more accountability. If a wine doesn't clearly state its country or region of origin, it can be a red flag. Origin affects quality standards, style, and traceability. And yes, the producer or winery name should always be clearly stated because that's who stands behind the wine. There are a few regions I personally trust almost every single time. I share those favorites and specific wine finds on my Instagram with tastings and quick reviews. If that sounds useful, join me there as well. Third, alcohol percentage. Alcohol gives structural clues. For red wines, 13 to 14% is usually balanced. Above 14.5%, expect something heavier. For white wines, 11 to 12.5% usually means fresher style. Alcohol is not good or bad, but it tells you what to expect. Fourth, vintage year. For everyday supermarket wines, choose recent vintages. White wines usually within last 1 to 2 years. Entry-level reds within last 2 to 4 years. Very old, cheap wine on a bright supermarket shelf is often not a good sign. Most supermarket wines are not designed for long aging. Not listing a vintage year at all can be a red flag. It usually means the wine is blended across multiple harvests for consistency rather than character. While that's common in inexpensive supermarket bottles and some styles like non-vintage champagne, quality wines typically highlight the vintage because the year matters. Fifth, producer transparency. Flip a bottle, look at the back label. Does it clearly state producer's name, bottling location, importer details? The more specific the information, the more traceable the wine. Vague labels usually indicate large industrial blending. All these wine choosing rules are helpful, but you probably also want the simple version. Just tell me which bottles are actually good. Spoiler, that guide is coming. Subscribe now so you don't miss that video. Now let's talk about warning signs. Not every red flag means the wine is bad, but when several red flags appear together, the risk increases. First, over-designed labels with no substance. If the front label is dominated by large animals, cartoon graphics, some catchy slogans, but does not clearly state grape or specific region, be cautious. Design is marketing. Specific information is a sign of transparency. If the visual story is stronger than the facts, ask questions. Label design alone doesn't determine wine quality. A beautiful label can hide an average wine, and a simple label can contain something exceptional. However, overly flashy or gimmicky design can sometimes signal that marketing is doing more work than the wine itself. Second, medal overloads. 1 medal is normal. 5 medals covering the entire bottle, that's marketing strategy. Many wine competitions are commercial. Producers pay to enter them. Winning a medal does not automatically mean exceptional quality. Medals are not useless. but they are not a guarantee of quality. Organic and biodynamic certifications can be meaningful because they show that the producer follows regulated standards, but they don't automatically guarantee better taste. As for ratings, especially in the US, look for scores from established critics or publications with transparent tasting methods, like for example, the Wine Advocate, rather than vague 90+ points claims without a clear source. Third, permanent 50% discounts. If a wine is always discounted, it was likely never realistically sold at a higher price. Retailers often use anchoring. A higher original price makes the current price feel like a deal, but perceived value is not the same as the real value. Fourth, extremely high alcohol in cheap wine. If you see 15.5% alcohol on a $6 bottle, expect imbalance. Very high alcohol at low price often indicates overripe grapes without careful structure management. That can mean heat and heaviness. Fifth, vague origin statements. As I have mentioned earlier in the video, if a label says only wine of Europe without regional detail, it usually indicates a large-scale blending. Look, blending is not bad, but anonymity often correlates with minimal selection. And here is the important nuance. These are not absolute rules. They are probability indicators. Picking wine in a supermarket is about risk management. Your goal is not to find perfection, it's to reduce unnecessary risk. Once you recognize these patterns, your choices improve immediately. Now let me show you how to apply everything in under 2 minutes. You walk into a supermarket, you stand in front of the shelf. Step 1, ignore the front label. Do not read the story. Do not look at the animal. Do not look at the discount sticker. Go straight to the structure. Step 2, pick a grape you understand. If you're a beginner with red wine, maybe Merlot or Malbec. With white wine, Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay. This immediately narrows the shelf from 200 bottles to maybe 20. Step 3, check the region. If you're holding a Malbec, is it from Argentina? If it's Tempranillo, is it from Rioja? If it's Chianti, does it clearly state Tuscany? A specific region is a quality signal. Vague origin is a risk signal. Step 4, check the alcohol percentage. Red wine around 13 to 14% is usually balanced. If it's pushing 15%, expect something heavier. If you're buying white wine and see 14.5%, it will likely be richer and fuller. Alcohol is a style indicator. Use it. Step 5, flip the bottle. Read the back label. Is there a real producer name? Is there an importer listed? Is there precise origin information? The more specific the information, the more traceable the wine. Step 6, compare 2 bottles, not 10. Put 1 in each hand. Same grape, similar region, similar price. Choose the one with clearer information, more balanced alcohol, less marketing noise. That's it. 2 minutes, no guessing, no impulse, no sticker-driven decisions. You don't need to analyze everything. You need to eliminate bad choices quickly. And once you follow this method a few times, the shelf stops feeling chaotic. It becomes structured. And structured environments are easier to navigate. If you feel like wine labels make more sense now, hit like and subscribe. We're going deeper in the next episodes.